and you have your crosshair right here. When people fight A main, they're fighting you on this line. They're not fighting you on this one, right? Now they could be posted up on this line, don't get me wrong. But the first angle you need to be worried about is this one right here. There could be a guy peeking into you right now for all I know. In fact, their Phoenix just ulted. I'm worried right now, right? So you just need to be very careful of where these players are going to be fighting you. And the reason for that is there's going to be another round later on. You don't think that like, oh man, maybe there's going to be an opper posted up on this angle. But like when I'm playing it, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't want to get opped. This guy has a lot of money. I want to prowler this first angle, and then we're going to walk up and we're going to dog into sight, and then we're going to eye sight, and we're going to use all of our utility to just run this guy over. Because if he's opping and we have that utility to force him off of it, then he's going to be very difficult for him to deal with that, right? Now the eye comes in, now the flash comes in, but like I would have loved that a year ago. You know, so it's just like when you're playing Duelist, you need to know about what angles you're going to be fighting and where these players are going to come from. Because if you're just walking up and you're like face checking every single angle, you're going to die like this a lot. So you say unlucky after this death too, I think. And I just wanted to articulate that it's not unlucky. You're just not using utility. You're not making it safe. So a lot of players actually play way too passive on defense, and it results in them losing way more rounds than they need to. And especially when you're playing Duelist, it's very important that you are being proactive and you're trying to take space, because if you're not doing that, then you're not really getting very much value as Duelist. You have to keep in mind, like if you're playing like a character like Jett, you have your dash available to kind of like get out all of the time. So we're gonna watch some of your gameplay. I'm gonna give you some basic critiques, and then I'm going to compare your gameplay as as Jett over to Tens when he's playing on the same map as the same agent. And so you can see kind of like the differences in how he's going to play the defense versus how you're going to play the defense. Okay. Starting out with this pistol round, we're going to comment on your position back here, back hall. Not the worst thing in the world, but it's also like not very far forward. So yeah, you're kind of going for a jump peek right here, which is fine. And basically right here, I want you to think about your objective. What is your goal in this round? If you look up at the map, what you'll see is your Sky's playing a one and done. So basically what I want to do in this position, even though I'm playing more of a Duelist role, is I want to set this guy up. I want to set him up to get kills because he's playing in a spot that they're going to have to clear. It's going to be very awkward for them to clear it. So basically what I'm going to introduce is that you want to think of point of contact and where you want to fight. If your Sky's playing right here, he's probably not going to wide swing out and fight with you. He's probably looking to like kind of catch them on an off angle when they're walking in. So that means that your point of contact should be right here. You're going to try to find an angle where you are going to fight the enemies right here, and you're going to commit to that fight so you can kind of bait for this player, right? So that would be your ultimate goal. What you're going to end up doing here is you'll actually play in a position where your point of contact is actually going to be slightly different. Notice how where you're aiming right here, your point of contact is much further. It's about like right here. So if you're fighting them right here, your Sky can't really do anything to help you, especially considering that he's zoned or smoked off right now, especially with this flash. So like if your goal is to bait for the Sky, what you should be thinking right now is I want to shoot this flash so they don't look at this guy. I don't want them to look at him. I want them to come in, and I want to play my point of contact with this Sky right now. So a lot of what you're going to do is going to be based off of where your teammates are and how you can find that point of contact. So again, I'm going to draw these lines just so you can see how this works. Sky's contact is there. That means that we want our contact to be here. So you can position an angle like this where you're catching them when they're running into the smoke. Maybe you come over here and you can catch them right there, right? But for the most part, you don't want to be fighting them on this long angle because it's just going to be unoptimal for your team, right? And notice this Phoenix is out right now, and he's fighting this guy. If you had listened to what I was saying, and you're fighting him when he comes out of that smoke where her point of contact is, you actually probably pick up this kill right away. Now, it is kind of risky because your Sky could have ended up dying here. Maybe you killed the Omen like that. Notice your Brimstone just got a kill. But instead, you're taking this long duel, and you're peeking the same angle multiple times, and it just kind of results in you dying. So, again, point of contact is what you're looking for right here. So this next round, you're going to be rotating over towards A, and again, we're going to be talking about your point of contact. So right here, when I'm looking up the map, I'm trying to see where my teammates are. Okay, we have Killjoy coming over here through spawn, and we have Fade in A main. Okay, this Fade is in a really strong position right now because she doesn't see anything A main, which means that she can come back around, and when they push through art, it's going to be very difficult for them. Notice this crossfire they're going to have to walk into. They can walk into your crossfire right here if you set this up. So basically what I'm thinking is I need my Fade to come back here. She's coming back, and I'm looking at the map, and what I'm thinking is rather than peeking this angle where our point of contact is much deeper, right here are all the guys, what I'm thinking is I want to play off of this Fade, and I want to fight them as they're coming in, like in this choke point, because if she's holding this and I'm able to pick up like an angle where I can fight them like that, it's going to be really deadly. Now they can isolate on this wall, so it's a little bit different, right? But for the most part, this is still going to be what you want to do. You want to be able to fight in this position where the Fade is picking up the fight. So you could even back up to a location like this if you really had to, and you could play off of the Fade's contact. or she could play off of you. But for the most part, choosing to fight them in this doorway, notice how there's 4 enemies in your vision right now, which is really bad. Now, granted, the Gecko has utility out, and like the Jett's going to be the one to kill you. This guy's not looking at you. That guy's looking behind. But for the most part, you never want to peek into an angle like this where there's 4 players holding you, or could potentially be holding you. Flash comes out, that guy kills you up top, and you end up dying, right? And now it's like, okay, well, we didn't get any value out of our life. And not only that, but now our Fade is alone here. So when she takes contact, she might get 1, but people are going to look at her, turn around, and they're probably going to try to trade her. Now, she does a good job of staying alive, it looks like. Oh, never mind. So the Omen swings her and she gets pinched, right? But for the most part, think about it, if she had been able to fight with you at the exact same time, you guys probably clean up like 2-3 kills or something, and then maybe you could focus on other elements of the round. But you guys are gonna end up losing this, and it's just kind of like it all has to do with point of contact. So to articulate it one last time, you see where somebody's aiming. I can go a little bit forward here. You see where a teammate is aiming, and you try to set up a crossfire with them. So for example, if this Fade were playing here, this Brimstone will want his point of contact to be here, right? So he could position like that, or maybe he could swing off of her. But you want to peek off of your teammate in that situation. By the way, guys, this student has already gone up 3 full divisions since our coaching session and is right on the edge of reaching Diamond right now. If you guys are looking to get your gameplay reviewed like this, be sure to check out SkillCapped's Discord, where all site subscribers can get paired up with their own dedicated trainer and start climbing today. Here you'll have an open communication channel with some of the top players in the game that will help you easily fix all of your issues and start climbing in no time. You'll also get access to view all of the other coaching sessions just like this one that are posted on the website for your improvement. It's like getting hundreds of sessions for the price of one. Even better, our service is backed up by a rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't rank up while actively using our service, you will get your money back. We do this because we want to see you improve, and if we can't help you improve, we don't want you to pay. Let's get back into the VOD, but if you want to improve, be sure to check out SkillCapped, and we will see you there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to focus on is just how you reposition a lot throughout this game. Notice how most of your game takes place over here in spawn. So I'm going to skip through a couple of rounds to kind of showcase it, right? So we go to the next round, and again, we're in halls, and then we're going to rotate over to A, and again, we're in spawn, and we don't end up making it out onto site because we get spawned by Phoenix. And then the next round, we're in halls, and we rotate over here through spawn, and then we're on site, and then we're in spawn. And it's like your whole game takes place like back here, right? In this area of the map, this region of the map. And that's pretty bad for a Duelist because, like I said, you have the dash and you have the ability to dash out after taking fights. So generally what you'll want to do is you want to play a little bit more aggressive, where you can like take space long and you can like dash away, or you could take space A main and you could like dash away. You can even fight art if you wanted to. You could peek doors, a little risky, but for the most part, like you want to be looking to make these plays where you're playing just a little bit more forward so you can get that information for your team and you can fight. So generally what a defense is going to look like, right? This is going to be like maybe you have your Killjoy set up and she's like anchoring A or something. She has her turret here. Maybe she has like an alarm bot here and like mollies or something. Or sometimes her turret will be posted up like this and then an alarm bot here. And then what you can do is you can heavy stack one side. So you can have like you and like you have a Fade, I think, right? You have your Fade, and then say, for example, I don't know what your other duelist is, but save it like Arena. And like you guys could like do something like this, where you look to fight this entrance and like Fade eyes, and like you guys can fight this choke point, and your Killjoy is holding down the other side of the map. This is normally what you'll look to do. Your Killjoy is the one playing passive, you're the one playing aggressive. But instead, you're kind of playing like more like a Sentinel role, where you're sitting in places like back hall, or you're sitting in places like Link, or you're even like back site or something like that. And you really want to be more forward and in their face where you can take these fights. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to compare this to like a 10s round, right? Or a couple of rounds on 10s, and just showcase how he's playing Jett on Pearl a little bit more actively. So you see the eye from the Fade, and he's going to play over here. And he's not back halls. He's still playing a little bit more passive in this round, but he's like jump peeking. And notice his point of contact too is with his Fade. So he's going to swing and look for the peek with his deagle, but he dashes out, and then he swings with the Fade. He's like mirroring her movements when he does this, right? She's peeking out. He's going to go for the reload. Okay, she backs off. He's going to come over here. He's going to play off the smoke. And again, he's going to play back here now. This is probably a little ambitious. I can see there's a read that he thinks they rotated out. So when he gets his info, this is really sick. But and notice how we're going to come over. We're going to go to the next round right here. He's going to buy up his Marshall. I'm going to get an ad. Hold on. And keep in mind, I didn't really watch this VOD beforehand. I just like, I could assume that based off of how Radiant players play, like Tens is going to be doing stuff like this, right? Like you're never going to see a Radiant player just like hiding in back hall or hiding in spawn and stuff like that. It's Jett. They're going to be playing a little bit more forward. So he pushes up here, and he's like desperate to get value. That's kind of the thing. Like when he's playing Duelist, he doesn't want to just sit back because his utility is not providing value otherwise, right? It's not like he has an alarm bot that's watching a choke point, or it's not like he's able to use like his recon to gather information. He's not getting passive value. He needs to play more aggressive to get that. So he gets a tag. He's going to end up updrafting, and he's able to get out. Going to be still fighting with his fade, right? Notice our point of contact is up here, so he's still playing aggressive, and he lands a good kill. And we'll go to the next round right here. As he start this round, more and slow in spawn, so his eye doesn't see anything, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go A. He probably thinks that it's an A play because they got B twice and they both lost, so it's probably more of a read thing, right? So he's gonna rotate over towards A fast, and he'll get over here. Looks like he's ended up coming back to B once he sees players. Tens does this a lot, by the way, where he'll just play like fast rotate, so he just like want to be like between any site if he can. But he picks up the Marshall, and notice how he's not just gonna sit back and spawn. He's gonna push out here. And he's looking for a fight. He wants to fight them as they're coming out of the smoke. He doesn't want to just sit back and play retake.
Gun here. Steer deeply long. There.
You want to tuck there?
And again, he's like peeking deep long. He's looking for that fight with that Marshall. Ends up dying,
right
but it is a bonus round at the end of the day. So let's see what he does in a gun round, right? He's gonna buy up his operator, and he immediately posts up long. And I know that you kind of did this when you had your op. You posted up on an angle and stuff. But for the most part, like, you're just noticing how Tense is already, like, he's trying to take angles, like, pretty much every time that he's alive.
I don't see anything big.
There's the B-long angle again. He takes Link. Gonna save his op. I want to find a rifle round from him. Give me a second here. I'll go look. All right, update. He didn't have a single rifle round on B-long, so I started doing more research, and I looked into Durka, and then I looked into Shazam, and it doesn't seem like any of these players use a rifle on Jett on this map, for the most part, at least not on defense, right? So oftentimes it seems like what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to buy to purchase this operator as early as you can, and you pick up B-long. Now, a lot of the reason for that is that there's not a lot of great angles on long. How do I clear this? Give me a second here. So there aren't a lot of great angles on long to play. Like, notice how, like, I guess you could play like back screens, but like if you get spammed out by utility, this isn't great. This pillar is not great because it's kind of difficult to get out of sometimes. This spot's not great, same reason, right? It's kind of difficult to get out of. You can't really walk up here most of the time unless your team invests a lot of utility. So for the most part, like scaling up a B long is kind of tough. So for this reason, what a lot of people do is they'll post up their Duelist on an operator and they'll kind of like take these angles. So this is kind of what you're going to be looking to do as Jett to kind of hold this site for your team. You can play up here. Again, you can do the same thing. You can play over here. This is a good option, right? And then as long as your teammates, like you have somebody here to help you get out, this is totally fine. If you don't have somebody to help you get out, post up here, dash away, right? You can also do it on this box. I see people do this sometimes. We'll just kind of like hold this off angle. This one's okay. Right? You can post up here if you really needed to. But for the most part, yeah, you're going to be looking to get that operator to kind of hold down this site. And that's what I've seen most commonly when you watch like professional Jett players like Durka, Shazam, Tens. It seems like they all do this. So this is kind of probably what you're going to be looking to do on defense. You could rifle, don't get me wrong. Rifling, you could do the same things, right? Probably don't post up here, but like you come close and you take these fights, or you could just try to play off your teammates. You could play back box here and dash out. These are all options for you, but it does seem like the top Jett players are opping most of the time on this map. Basically, the big focus here, though, is that you need to be looking to get value early as a Duelist. Otherwise, you're going to be really stuck when you end up late game and you need to like retake site or something like that, and you just don't have a lot of utility to work with. 3 of your teammates are dead. You're in a 2v5 or something like that, right? So for the most part, you need to be like desperate to get value. Is kind of what I articulate to people. So to showcase this just a little bit more, we're going to talk about one last round where I don't feel like you were necessarily desperate to get value, or you didn't feel like that way. So you hear this, there's people here, you call it out, which is good. I like how you've been communicating. It seems like not like a ton throughout the game. It's not like you're like communicating plans, but you're at least like making call outs, which I think is a good first step, right? But now what you could turn this into is like, hey, I hear a few people's shops. If you look up at your map, your Brimstone's not really doing anything. He might be baiting for the sky, but like we're hearing people here and the sky's not saying that she's hearing people here. So what I'm thinking is like, hey, Brimstone, can you come over here and like hold a crossfire with me or play street? And it looks like he even is thinking about this, right? He's like walking up, but if you had called this a little bit earlier, he's probably here ready to fight. But you basically end up making the decision to let these guys through. I think this is fine. You end up telling them that you're letting them through, but when you end up walking through here, notice how your whole teammate's dead, and it's just like, man, it really sucks that like our Duelist is like sitting here, and you're not really fighting anything. You're not really looking to hold off this push. You're kind of just letting him through. Like, you could easily be like a Sentinel or any other agent, and you'd be getting like the same amount of value. So it's like, I really, probably more in the Killjoy's case, right? Because she at least has a lockdown where she's hating out a link, where it's like you're not really getting any value out of your utility at all right now, which kind of sucks. But you're gonna rotate over here. You end up picking up a kill under the deadlock. I think this is good. You end up shooting down this wall. It takes you a year. And what I'm going to comment on right here is how you play this 1v2, right? So your Killjoy ends up dying, whatever. There's a Killjoy up here. This guy still has to deal with this. Do you think that he's going to swing you before he deals with the ultimate? Like, the answer is probably not, right? You hear him shooting this ultimate right here, and you're holding. When in reality, it's like, you have to think about, like, every second that you're wasting, you're not, like, you're spending doing one thing, you're not doing something else. So this is what I mean by you need to be desperate to get value. Because in this round right here, what I would be doing while he's dealing with this is you have an opportunity to take this 1v1 with the Gecko, right? You could swing out, your dash is already primed, and you could look to, like, fight this guy. But instead, you're holding an angle that somebody's not going to swing. He was busy killing the ultimate, now he's reloading, right? And now you dash out, but it's like, okay, well, you could have used this dash to take a swing on this guy and then dash away to avoid the trade, or like dash towards halls to like get towards the spike, right? But instead, like, you kind of dashed in the open, a little bit risky. And then once you get into this 1v1, the Jett tactic, like the classic Jett tactic, is you drop your smoke on the spike and you start the defuse. Don't waste your time trying to smoke this guy because he's just going to run through it. But if you start the defuse right here, you're putting the pressure on this guy because he could go for the spam, but if he misses, he's going to lose the round, right? So you go for that smoke, already risky because you kind of saw the guy, right? But like, if you smoke yourself, when he drops down here, he's not going to see you right away, right? Because he sees you. So what you could do instead, the classic tactic, smoke the spike, you stick half, you re-smoke it because you have a second smoke available, and then you swing after tapping it, right? So you tap it, it makes the half noise, and then you swing this guy. So basically, I wish I could load in the game to show you what that looks like. Give me a sec here. So boom, spike's planted right here, right? You smoke it, you stick half, you smoke again, and you tap it, and then I'm going to swing this guy when he starts to spam, right? You tap it, you give it a half a second, and then you just swing out and you take the fight on this guy, right? So yeah, once again, smoke, half, smoke, tap, swing. And basically, yeah, this is going to put on a lot more pressure, and you can do this a lot more quickly than like having to like, I have to like hope that that smoke lands. Notice it landed even further away, right? It's just a lot more, like, less consistent. And the other thing too is that, like, even if like a 2v2, we're actually showcase this in the next round, but like if you smoke the spike, you can like hold for your teammate, right? And this guy's blocked off, and then like you could just like take the fights on whoever, right? But if you smoke the entrance and there's people playing behind it, they can spam through it, and I can't actually see them, so it's gonna be a lot harder for me to spam back. So we'll showcase that here in the next round. So you pick up some good kills in this round, and you ended up in a 3v2. This is sick. It's the last round of the half. So your Brimstone is ultimate. This ult's great, except it doesn't cover this corner, I don't think. So the Omen's probably going to hide there. When you see this ulti, your goal here is to walk up, right? Nobody's swinging this smoke right now. There's no reason for you to hold it. Deadlock comes in, hits this guy, which is like fine. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys should probably still win this. And you have your two smokes available. Rather than shooting this guy and wasting a bullet on it, I would probably just keep holding, because it's going to be pretty common for players to fight off of this Brimstone spamming it, right? There's almost swinging to kind of trade the Brimstone out. He's looking for the Brim, right? And if you have been holding this rather than hitting this, then you probably actually killed this Omen. And it's like, to be entirely honest, like, is your one op shot going to save this guy's life? He's already kind of in the open. He's pretty much dead, right? But if you're able to get a kill off of it, it's not the worst thing in the world. But then once you go up here, notice how you guys are holding it. Neither of you has tapped the spike, so these guys don't need a peek. There's no reason for them to peek. They're just like, they have the complete advantage right here. You guys can't win the round if you don't defuse the spike. So you haven't tapped the spike, you can't defuse right now. He's just chilling. And basically what you need to do right now is like 10 seconds earlier, pretty much. Smoke the spike and get on it. You still have your two smokes available, and you can easily go for that, and your Brimstone can hold for you. And this is perfect for Jett too, because it's so easy for you to place these smokes. For Brimstone, he needs to pull out his iPad and he needs to go and like place them, and we don't even know if he has them available. But it seems like you're not using your smokes very often anyway. So just think that like when you're in these clutch situations where the spike is ticking, that's like your prime time to get a smoke on the spike and at least half it, right? Or put on the pressure to the enemies, because they don't need to swing you until you do that. So it's just kind of something that's important to keep in mind. I know that maybe you were hoping that your Brimstone went for it because you had an operator, but at the end of the day, you had two smokes available, and those are like, that is like prime Jett clutch time. You know, you just go smoke the spike and you get onto it. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about for the defense. We're going to move on to the offense now. So I felt like your offense was a lot better than your defense, but it still it feels like you kind of lack some fundamental concepts that really need to be present in your gameplay as you're approaching like diamond and stuff like that. So notice right here, you're starting out the round. You guys are going to be going over towards B long, and I just wanted to talk about what it looks like to scale up on a site. So you're going to end up dying here. And you're going to end up saying unlucky, but it's really not unlucky. You guys just you played this really poorly. So you guys all sprinted up here. You didn't use a sky flash. You didn't use a jet smoke. You didn't use a fade eye. You didn't use a prowler. You didn't use anything, right? There's no smokes down. For the most part, this is like a really bad play, and part of the reason, part of what you would do normally to make this safer is you smoke the entrance and then you flash deep. And you're gonna see a lot of teams will do this to kind of scale up. And the reason for this is because you need to be aware of what the common angles on the map are. Hold on, let me mute this. This is really loud. You need to be aware of what common angles you're going to be peeking into as a duelist so you can be prepared for them. So common angle here. Actually, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm just going to mark X's. So common angle, right? Maybe a spot right here. Maybe a spot right here. Maybe a spot right here. Maybe on top of this. It could be a guy right here. Sometimes people fight in the open, right? Maybe close. So for the most part, these are going to be kind of all the common angles that you'll need to clear, and you need to use your utility to kind of adapt to this. So how can we clear some of these angles, right? So we drop a cloud burst right here. Okay, this is going to make it so these guys, they need to worry about 2 angles, makes it a lot more difficult for them to land this shot, right? Anybody who's playing this position, they're already worried about people crossing, so you've already done a pretty good job at that, right? Next, you could use your sky flash deep right here. Like I said, sky flash is deep. If it doesn't hit anything, everything's clear, right? If it does hit things, then you have to be like, okay, well, how are we going to deal with this next? Well, the sky flash should be able to get you up to pillar, so that's kind of sick, right? Now you can approach pillar, and you're right here. Now we could sky flash even deeper, right? Okay, now sky flash does here. Okay, sky flash doesn't hit anything. Sweet, we have sight, right? If it does hit something, that means that there's probably players right here, and we could push up to maybe right here, right? Now we're even deeper, right? We're ready to take fights. Now we can do our smoke, and we can dash out, and we can use our sky dog, right? Now our sky's up here. She's dogging. We've scaled up. She's able to dog into hall. I dash. I'm able to trade it, right? This is what it looks like to scale up on a site. You also have 2 fade prowlers and an eye. Keep in mind, we have a ton of utility for this, right? We could die onto site. We could clear back site. There's no reason for you to be dying this early with this team comp. Basically, you just need to be using your utility to get into site. So it's not just you, right? Obviously, you have your teammates and they need to use their utility, but you need to articulate this to them. You can't just assume that they're going to do it, because when you walk up here and you get one tap, I'm frustrated right now. I mean, you ended up getting traded. That's sick. I guess you guys got a kill off of it, and you're going to end up winning this round basically off the back of that trade. But for the most part, I don't want to die to that. When we have so much utility to clear the first angle, why am I dying on the first angle? You do it again here, I think. Right? Notice how when you're peeking this angle, you're clearly unaware of early angles in the round. So you're walking up, and you have your crosshair right here. When people fight A main, they're fighting you on this line. They're not fighting you on this one, right? Now they could be posted up on this line, don't get me wrong, but the first angle you need to be worried about is this one right here. There could be a guy peeking into you right now for all I know. In fact, their Phoenix just ulted. I'm worried right now, right? So you just need to be very careful of where these players are going to be fighting you. And the reason for that is there's going to be another round later on where you're going to die. Sorry, it feels like I'm really digging into you right now. It's just my tone of voice right now. I think that you're a smart player. It seems like you have decent aim, and I think that you are going to climb. You don't have a ton of playtime either. I just wanted to point this out. You have 53 hours this last act, but minimum, what I would say is that after 60 hours, then you could say that you played that act, right? But what you could say like this act right here where you had 10 hours, did you play that act? Not really. I mean, you kind of played a little bit. Maybe you played a game here and there. But it's now, right now, you have 47 wins. That means that you probably have about 100 matches in this act with a 50% win rate. So yeah, you're kind of getting there. It feels like you've played a little bit this act. You just put a little bit of time into it. So I think that it's very important that you're playing so that you can figure out what these angles are. Because when you're just approaching it and you don't have that much playtime, you don't think that oh man, maybe there's gonna be an offer posted up on this angle. But when I'm playing it, I'm thinking, oh my god, I don't want to get opt. This guy has a lot of money. I want to prowler this first angle, and then we're gonna walk up and we're gonna dog into sight, and then we're gonna eye sight, and we're gonna use all of our utility to just run this guy over. Because if he's opping and we have that utility to force him off of it, then he's gonna be very difficult for him to deal with that, right? Now the eye comes in, now the flash comes in, but I would have loved that a year ago. So it's just when you're playing Duelist, you need to know about what angles you're going to be fighting and where these players are going to come from. Because if you're just walking up and you're face checking every single angle, you're going to die like this a lot. So you say unlucky after this death too, I think. And I just wanted to articulate that it's not unlucky. You're just not using utility. You're not making it safe. So when you have two initiators on your team who are great for scaling up, it's not unlucky. So kind of moving on to the next part. Okay, finally we're going to finish up. I just wanted to talk to you about what you need to look to do when you're pushing out of smokes. So as Jett, you're going to be pushing out of smokes a lot because you have 2 smokes in your kit, right? And you normally dash into them. So I just wanted to make sure you're doing it right. So when you dash out like this, you need to look at your map. And basically what you're looking at your map for is you're looking for enemy locations when you dash out, because you know you can scan like both angles when you dash out. Let's see if I still have my game open. So like, say for example, I was going to smoke dash here, right? You can prime the dash, and you can like look to your left there, and you can like clear, right? And if you do something like that, you can like kind of swipe your mouse when you do this too. I'm not that good at Jett, but like I know that a lot of Jett players will do this, and you can like clear both angles, right? And if you see anything on the map, then it'll like tell you, right? So one more time, I think it would be better if you looked right and then you left, right? For the most part, like I said, I'm not a Jett player, but this is, I know that this is what you're supposed to do with Jett, because you want to like clear both angles. So if you can get the info and you can do twice, then like sick. If you can only do one side, I play on pretty low sense, so I think I could probably only accomplish like clearing one side. Then you probably just do one and like don't risk it and stuff. But when you do this, it looks like you kind of do that in your game. Yeah, you do a good job of this, at least with your first dash, right? So it's very clear that you're actually doing this. You clear the left, which is sick. So at least your teammates know that there's nobody on the left, and you're kind of worried about the right. So what you're going to do is when you get into the smoke, you're going to look up at your map, and you're going to see I have a sky flash going into A main. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the sky flash to pop, and then I'm going to swing with it, right? Sky flash pops, and then you swing with it, rather than peeking before the sky flash and then getting blinded by it. The other thing too is that if that flash doesn't blind anything, you know nobody's A main, so you can look to your other side and you can kind of peek out like this, right? I'm also kind of worried about something being right here, but it's very unlikely, I suppose. So for the most part, that's how you're going to kind of do it. When you dash out, you need to look at your map and you need to think about it. And this is not just present for sky flashes, right? There's also other things that you could be looking for. So say, for example, you are playing on Haven. I'll go over to Haven. Or Ascent is actually what I wanted. So you're playing Jett, you dash out here, you smoke, you dash, and you end up in the smoke, and you have like a Sova recon out, right? You're looking on the Sova recon to wait and see if it pings anybody so that you know where to swing out. Or you're also looking on the map to see if your teammates see anything. So if they see somebody swinging heaven, you could swing out and you can have your crosshair immediately prepared for heaven. But you need to look at your map to do this rather than just swinging out blindly. Because it seems like if you were looking at your map, I think that you would have seen that sky flash was there. But you weren't. So you ended up getting hit by it. So we're going to go back to the VOD here. And we're going to talk about the next round. Where again, you're going to make a mistake when swinging out of a smoke. So right here. Notice how you're going to swing into the smoke. You're going to pick up your first kill, which is sick. You're going to go for a reload with 5 bullets. You have 20 bullets left, so you can still take this fight. And I think you would catch a better timing if you did. Notice how the Omen's swinging out right as you're peeking, and you're still in your reload. You end up getting taken out. But the thing I really wanted to comment on is just how you swung this smoke, right? Once you go into the smoke, believe it or not, I think this is kind of fine because the smoke is on like the corner, so you can kind of like get into the smoke a little bit weirdly. You get the kill, but when you swing out of the smoke, you need to strafe out to your left. You can't walk forward into it. Notice you're walking out like this, and when you walk out like this, your gun's poking out, and also you're walking forward, so you're a really easy target. Whereas like if you had done something like this, smoke's right here. Notice how more confident this peek looks than like this one. You're just walking in a straight line. And like anything that we know about peaks, right? You don't want to peek like this, right? You want to peek like this. You swing out with A&D. So that's just kind of your thing with your smokes. You're going to be peeking out of smokes a lot as Jett, so you just want to be prepared and know how this is done, right? Crosshair, you place it in the direction, and you just strafe with A&D. Or strafe out of this, right? When I said with this smoke, I didn't say tap spike, do this, right? I said tap spike, do this. Peek out to the right. So that's kind of what you got to know. So basically, for the most part, on offense, get out of this area of the map. You don't want to be in spawn. You want to be playing a little bit more aggressive on the choke points and seeing if you can find picks and get information. Op is a great tool. It looks like pretty much every single pro Jett is opping on B long. And it's just because this is kind of hard to hold otherwise. So if you're able to purchase an op early round, that's kind of how you're going to do it. Most Jetts, it seems like, start Sheriff. They go Marshal light armor next round if they can. And then they'll save for op until they can get it. So if you can post up on an op, that's really sick. You can also get your knives early if you get a lot of kills. So you can kind of use that to buy yourself like a round and then save for that operator if you can. And then on offense, you're going to be kind of focusing on the smokes a little more when you dash out, try to peek out with them. And you need to be focusing on scaling up. So try to keep in mind, what angles do you like to play on offense? When you start playing a little bit more aggressive here, what angles are you posted up on? Because that was something that they were doing better than you, right? Their Jett pushed up here, he picked up a kill. Their Jett pushed up on the other side, he picked up a kill. That's how I want you playing. I want you to be this guy who's taking advantage of people not knowing their angles. I don't want it to be the other way around, right? So hopefully this is helpful for you, man, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out. As mentioned, if you want to get your VOD reviewed, be sure to check out SkillCapped's Discord to get started on climbing today. Along with our dozens of courses that will get you caught up on your mechanics that you need to know to master the game, you can also be paired up with with one of our top coaches in the Discord to instantly diagnose your issues and get you climbing in no time. If you're looking for more content just like this and you want to rank up fast like all of our other students, be sure to check out SkillCapped, and we'll see you there.